What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second ever podcast of 2021 by the Film Roast Podcast. My name is Jorgs, and with me, I have my co-anchor slash underling, as I like to view you.
Yes,
as.
he does view me as that.
Scotty, welcome.
Coming to you live from the Central Coast of New South Wales. It's a Film Roast Podcast.
And now my neighbors are trying to break down the door and crucify us. Thank you so much, Scotty, for coming all this way and getting me in a lot of trouble. This is the first episode of a new dawning of a new age for the
sun has risen once more on the Film Roast Podcast.
We have opened 2021 to a continuing pandemic, as most of you are aware.
We are resolved.
It sucks, but please continue to social distance. Wear those masks. Scotty, you've got one right here.
I have a mask. I'm going to put a mask on right now and see if you can tell the difference.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Can you tell the difference? I think you can.
A little bit. Not much, though. Not much. Those fabric masks are pretty good.
They are.
Today, we are endeavoring to change our format.
Yes.
Which is something that not many people are able to do successfully.
The resolved have resolutions, and the resolution is this.
Yeah, we're changing our format, and this time we're going to look at every individual month as we go through it, and take a look at the films and possibly TV shows and events that happen that have impacted us in terms of film, but also in terms of coffee, which is what we've got here.
Cheers, Jordan. Cheers.
We have our late afternoon lattes.
Yes, it may be not an appropriate hour for caffeine, but who cares? Oh, that's good.
Delicious. I am amazing.
Yes, you are.
So, without further ado, let's play my song.
Our song.
Our song.
Peel back the curtain, set the scene, bring out the film reels and ground coffee. Elizabeth Taylor, all sugar and spice. Rambo ripping heads off cause he's not very nice. Robert Redford's running from the cops. Scarlett Johansson showing her acting chops. Samuel Jackson got that fine diction, roasting everyone in Pulp Fiction. Doc and Marty escaping through time, playing chess with the Wookiee, put your life on the line. Thelma and Louise are driving coast to coast. Why is this important? It's time for
a film roast.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a film roast. Thank you for nailing that on the head, Scotty. On my whiteboard at the back of my room,
The whiteboard of terror.
I have our little plan, I guess, for this episode of the podcast. So every time there is an awkward silence, it's probably one of us looking at it.
It is our
figure
dictator.
out where we are.
It's the sort of, you know how you have that teacher at the back of the room that's giving you the stare during exams? That is our whiteboard.
Yeah.
It is a dictator. It is a manipulator. It makes our emotions small. It's insecure.
It's a teller of things that we need to do. And number one on the list, Scotty.
It's the box office breakdown.
Yeah, we're going to break down the box office for this month. Only in Australia, though, because we're kind of behind the rest of the world. The rest of the Western world.
We are, and we're ahead at the same time because
it's weird.
This thing called 2020. The word that
2020. Wow, we're going back in time.
Well, yes. The thing is, there's this word in 2020 that got a lot of people in trouble when they said it on YouTube.
Dick.
Yeah, Dick.
No.
We'll just call it Dick from now on. The Dick pandemic.
Yep.
The Dick pandemic. Screwed up.
It stuffed us all around. And not to sound like, I feel like saying that is a bad thing just because it's like
it demeans it.
It's this unrealistic kind of thing. I was like, damn it, pandemic. Because I haven't lost anyone to this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about you.
No, no one in my close area.
We are on this level of privilege here in Australia.
White privilege.
That not just white privilege. I mean, survivors' privilege, really, because our government managed to get a handle on things quite it wasn't as efficiently as it could be.
We can complain about our government and the reactions to COVID for a very long time, but no, we were lucky.
Yeah,
we are lucky.
We got locked down at the right time. And we've continued to be able to stay on top of it compared to a lot of other countries.
If you think about our closest, in terms of countries that we're most closely related to, it's the UK and the US.
Yeah.
They've had millions of deaths.
Well, aside from New Zealand, who have handled it way better than anyone else really has.
Yeah, but we don't talk about them.
No, well, I do. I want to talk about
No,
them.
I'm just kidding. We're just jealous of the success.
Jacinda, please adopt me.
No, that's it. No,
please.
The Australian
Take
way.
me away from this.
The Australian way when it comes to New Zealand is, they're ours. We own them. Their
Which is
achievements are
ridiculous.
ours.
Which is
It's so true though.
We've done it with Sam Neill.
Yeah.
We've done it with Russell Crowe.
Crowded House.
Yeah, we've done it with Crowded House. Fuck. We love to take advantage of all of their success, and then when it comes time for all of this kind of shit, we tend to look down on them, which is really weird because I think New Zealand has the longer end of the stick in terms of a lot of things that Australia just doesn't have. One of them being the film industry.
It does. They've done well, it's complicated. We don't want to get into it now, but yes, New Zealand's film industry, I think at the moment we can clearly say is ahead.
Booming. It is booming in terms of it is very much ahead of the curve down here below the equator compared to us, unfortunately.
Once again, insert complaint about government.
Yes.
But the box office, let's get into the box office.
Yes.
This is the Australian box office as of January 28th, 2021, and the first movie right at the top is a movie that neither of us have seen and intend to see in the slightest.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
This film actually, I can't remember when it came out, but it was quite recently.
Yeah, it was.
It's called Penguin Bloom, and it's about this family who goes through, drama and tragedy.
They find a baby pet magpie.
Yeah, and call it Penguin Bloom for some reason. Isn't it based on a book? I'm pretty sure it's
based on a book.
And so I feel like in Australia, we can't make any films that aren't based on a book because there's another film on this list.
Yes, that we have seen.
Next on the list, The Dry, which is also based on a book here in Australia.
I just want to point out before we go on, the top two movies are the only ones that are more than $1 million in the box office here in Australia. And even for Australia, like our box office is normally bigger than this. So the box office has dropped off a lot for various obvious reasons.
And for good reasons, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to point that out there, just so we know what figures we're dealing with.
Yeah. The next on the list is Croods 2, which is understandable.
Do we actually say Penguin Bloom for Penguin Bloom?
Yeah, I said
okay. It's Penguin Bloom number 1, To the Dry.
To the Dry. It's 3 is the Croods 2, which is pretty much the only kids film that is in cinemas right now.
There's another one, but it's the
only
lesser
one
of two.
seen.
Yeah, lesser of two evils, maybe.
Let's go with that. The next one, which baffles me, but also is not surprising at the same time, The Marksman.
Well, I sort of contributed
starring
to it.
Liam Neeson. And
this is the first movie.
You bought a ticket for this.
I paid money to see this movie, yeah.
Well, we both made mistakes this month.
Yeah.
We both made mistakes this month.
I feel less bad. I think I may have got... Because it's exactly what you expect from a Liam Neeson action movie. But anyway.
Expectation does not equal results.
No, but...
you know what I mean? Like, the film I saw...
Yeah.
Had some good parts. We'll get to that later.
Okay. But I bought a Big Mac and I ate a Big Mac. That's what I'm saying.
So fair enough.
Yeah.
The next one on the list was a film that came out end of last year, Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
We have some words. We actually recorded a podcast episode on this, but I decided we're going to hold on to that until maybe a little bit later in the year, to kind of either give us some perspective or give us something to entertain us over, because I didn't want to start the year off with
negatively.
Wonder Woman. I wanted to start the year off on Soul because Soul's very important.
Yep.
The next one on the list is War with Grandpa, which stars Robert De Niro in another one of those roles. I don't know why he got bribed into. It's weird.
He's making money.
He is making money.
Let's not worry about that.
Maybe he's just having fun.
Once
That's
again,
fair. Whatever.
I will say this: a lot of the movies that are coming out right now, it feels like they're the wasteland of movies. January is usually anyway. And in fact, I was surprised. I actually saw, the Tom Daisy Ridley movie, Tom what's his face, Spider-Man.
Oh, the Chaos Walking series. Yes, I can't remember the name of the film, but it's part of that series.
So I heard originally that movie was never going to come out and see the light of day.
Oh, really?
They were going to bury it, and now it's coming out.
Wow! And kind of like that other film that came out by Disney last year or the year before. Based on the kids' book.
Artemis Fowl. Yeah. Well, yes, but no. Chaos Walking is now getting a release, and it wasn't good anyway. But back to War with Grandpa. Yes, there are movies that are coming out right now that suck dick, and that's just a fact, and we have to accept that. There are good movies coming out as well, and we will talk about them
as well.
And the next movie,
I feel like okay. So the next film, Promising Young Woman.
Yeah.
which is fantastic. I love that this is on the top 10 box office at the moment.
Yep.
It's made by the same person who created Killing Eve, which is a hit TV show from the UK. It's fantastic. The next one on the list, again, I'm so disappointed by Monster Hunter.
Well, why? Because
for multiple reasons. Okay. For me, the reason why I'm disappointed is this is made by the same people who put someone's life in danger.
Yeah.
Who then paid her off or attempted to pay her off with chump change to silence her after she lost an arm to negligence by the director and the production
And this is
company.
someone who's well known in the industry in her area and is well thought of by most...
and they tried to bury her. They tried to do all of these nasty things to shut her up.
Yeah.
And they are still out here making movies.
Yeah. And
that is something that I can't justify in terms of like if between art and between humanities and doing the right thing, this does not compute.
That makes my skin crawl too.
So when I see that their film is part of the top 10 box office,
it's low down and it's not worth much money.
Yes. So, but at the same time, very disappointed.
I think it made like 400,000 in Australia, and it's not, when you think about the budget.
Don't watch it, guys.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. The next one is it's the Wish version of How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
I shared a meme on the film roast.
We have How to Train Your Dragon at home. Yes. Very appropriate.
But yeah, they've stolen the font as well, which is really weird. They've stolen the actual
font. You can get
font.
anything away with these days.
The actual font and the color of the font is the exact same between How to Train Your Dragon and Dragon Rider, which is what we're talking about. And the final one, which is the mistake that I made.
He bit the bullet for me. I didn't see it.
I did. Shadow in the Cloud.
Yep.
Which stars Chloe Grace Moretz as a... I don't want to even get into it just yet. We'll get into it a little bit later, but my God, what the fuck?
Yeah, okay. That's enough.
Holy shit.
So
that is that's the box office for here in Australia.
It would be.
Well, that is the box office.
Yes, I'm saying, but
there's another thing.
The world has changed.
It has. We have gone digital.
Bop, bop.
Over the past 12 months, digital has become a much more leaned on source of entertainment.
It was already heading mainstream, and the fact that people are stuck at home makes it even more mainstream. Netflix and Amazon and the whole shebang.
Yes. So streaming, we've seen a couple of these. We haven't seen a couple of them. We have One Night in Miami,
which I haven't seen yet.
Directed by Regina King in her directorial debut, and it stars some just amazing people, and it is on Amazon Prime if you want to check that out. But it's one of the top streaming films of January. Yep. Which is well deserved.
That's good.
I think it's fantastic. The next one was Pieces of a Woman.
Yeah, this is the Sheila Booth movie on Netflix.
This, I think there are performances in that film. That are Oscar worthy.
It's a well-made movie.
It is a well-made film. I just think it fucking sucks that he's done this.
Well, it's the old thing. Do you separate the art from the artist as well? Because
there's a line there. You know what I mean? Like it's not just can you. It's where is your line?
I mean, Roman Polanski movies are sort of the beginning of this, in my opinion, because I mean, you have one of the greatest actors of all time accepting an Oscar for him, for example.
Yeah,
Meryl Streep. But it's just a matter of. If you come to, let's just say it's a painting. Say there's a painting on the wall and you don't know who it's painted by. And you see it and you appreciate it and it means something to you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But then you find out it's Hitler's painting.
Exactly. Say you find out it was painted by Hitler. Should that, first of all, affect how you feel about the painting? Because that's your experience.
Yeah.
And then, but the other thing is, should you then tell other people about how you feel about the movie? No, but promotion. That's what I mean. Not just like you can talk about something relatively, but talking about promoting something like this. Anyway,
it's the same. It's the same with it's the same with evangelists and Christianity. Like, I firmly believe that religious beliefs and stuff like this, they impact us. They do. They outline how we view life and how we interact with other people. Should we be going out of our way to tell people what they should and shouldn't believe based on our beliefs?
Yeah.
No.
Also, I think you can make it simpler than that. Relationships. You can. Everyone has unique relationships, and if you go up to someone who's single and go like, "This is what your relationship should be like,"
yeah,
think, well, you're a piece of trash, because that's not how relationships work.
No. exactly. And so I think that comes down to the understanding of art. I think recently, actually, on Twitter, a renowned film critic claimed that critics put more work in than artists in terms of writing about art.
Yeah, well,
nobody asked for your opinion, first of all.
Oh my goodness.
Second of all, no. You can't judge a craft, an individual craft that is based in personal experience on what you may or may not think about how much work people put in. Like, when it comes to certain people, there are certain people working in the film industry that put no effort in. Fair enough. But you cannot claim that all filmmakers put less effort in.
Okay, I'll put it this way. I believe Michael Bay, when he's making a movie, puts a lot of effort in.
Yeah.
He puts a lot of effort in. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Did you know Bong Joon-ho, before he was a director, was actually a film critic?
He was, yeah. I was aware of that, which is kind of cool because it gives me hope.
Yeah, exactly. It gives us both hope. And I do know of other critics, such as Mark Kermode, who have tried to dabble in it and have failed miserably, and they're more than willing to admit that fact.
Yeah, and there is actually a there is a film that came out last year, Bacurau.
Yeah,
the director of Bacurau, he was a film critic.
Yeah. When
he first started out, and he's made 5 films, and all of them have been amazing. And so it's like these film critics understand film, that it's not just about them ripping into movies. It's not about them trying to find a way to dissect something. It's about them understanding it
and appreciating and loving the art, because I think that's one thing this film critic obviously is shooting himself in the foot. Is all the other ones, they know how much effort is put into every single frame of every single movie, or isn't put into it. They can tell that too.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing, is like you can see the cup half full or half empty, while I'm looking at a cup that's half full.
Yeah, you better drink more of that. Where were we? We were streaming.
We were streaming.
We do this a lot. Okay, so that was Pieces of Woman. Soul was the next one that's on the list, and it's well deserved. I think Soul should be watched by.
Insert podcast reference to previous podcast here.
If you don't know why we like Soul, you should go back one episode and listen to that.
And you can watch the movie. It is free to stream on Disney Plus.
It is. Not free. We gotta make sure you gotta pay a subscription.
You gotta pay
a
subscription fee. Yeah.
The next one on the list is The Prom, which is on Netflix, and this is a little bit of good with a whole lot of bad.
Can you give me a James Corden impression?
I don't want to.
Me neither.
Because I might throw myself out the window. The Prom, it's got a lot of problems, but it's up there on the list. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which stars Chadwick Boseman in his last film role.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of buzz about him getting the Oscar posthumously, which I hope he does. I love that this is on the list again.
Yeah, I want to watch it, because when the Joker won the Oscar award, not the movie, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
There was this conversation at the time where it's like, is he just getting it because he passed away?
Yeah.
And I hate that conversation, but at the same time, it's like, I'm glad that there's this urge to watch that movie because of this conversation. And I hope that it lives up to that. But I also know that I've seen other movies this year. It's like, this performance was amazing. In fact, there's a couple of performances that we're going to talk about, I think, and ones that surprised me that I really want to at least get nominated. So it's like, anyways, it's this complicated thing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. It is. But yeah, fantastic. He's got these 2 fantastic monologues in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which are just insane. Really showcases his talent. And the final one that we managed to find,
that was big,
which was big, Small Axe, which is part of Steve McQueen's anthology series.
Not the old guy. We're talking about the amazing director of movies such as 8 Years a Slave.
9 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I caught myself.
Yeah, you said not 8 years a Slave.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to be
kind. It wasn't that long.
was trying to be cool. You know what? I was thinking of the characters. I was thinking of their suffering. I wanted to
fair enough
reduce it a bit.
But yeah, 9 Years a Slave and a whole host of other ones, especially starring Michael Fassbender.
It's funny how that has happened.
Yeah, he's got a lot of collaborations with him. So yeah, those are the top films streaming / in the cinemas here in Australia.
Yeah.
If you guys have any films that you've seen that you kind of wish made the list,
there were a couple that I noticed that just missed the box office, like Witches, and there was another. I
forgot about Witches.
Yeah,
but so did a lot of people, apparently.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's not as good as the original, and I don't. Yeah.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Go watch.
Often the original trumps a lot of. I wish I never said that word. Damn it. We were trying to keep him out of the podcast, and he just snuck in. He snuck in.
We built this wall, and then we knocked it down. And
anyway,
yeah,
we're gonna. So, how was your film going experience this month?
It was eclectic because, first of all, to do this podcast, this January podcast, we have seen a lot of movies.
Yeah. So last year we were quite lazy. For good and bad reasons.
Yeah, okay.
For good and bad
lazy
reasons.
is a strong word.
But we were. We were quite lazy. We didn't watch as many films as we should have.
Yeah, no.
And we weren't really plugged into what was going on.
We had our finger not on the pulse, but like on the waistline.
Yeah. But this year we're going to try and we're going to try and pump that up a bit.
Yeah.
We're not going to throw in those rookie numbers. We're going to get into the cinema.
We're going to be watching a lot of movies.
Watching stuff. So. And it was great, really. I found myself enjoying, it was weird.
It was weird because, and I will say this, because I had eclectic experiences at the cinema, and I'm just putting the movies out the way. There was one movie I watched on my own, but only one. There was a couple where I was just a couple other people.
Yeah.
The one that had the most audience, I hate to say it, was actually The Marksman.
I mean, can you blame them?
No.
What was the age range of your audience for that one?
Actually, very varied.
Very varied.
Yeah.
Very varied.
There was some people, I'd say 16 to 18, and then people in their oldies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I expected a lot of oldies.
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't. No. It was more Marksman than Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It was more. Wonder Woman actually had a fair big audience too. But big respective to everything else I saw. The one that had the lowest was the one I saw last night, which was High Ground.
Interesting, because the lowest I had was where is it? Promising Young Woman.
Oh, really?
We saw it alone by ourselves. Right. We had a private screening, which was fantastic. I
saw it with 10 other people.
Okay,
and we all laughed and gasped at the right moments. It was always fun.
That's nice.
Yes,
that's one thing I miss is the audience.
And I'll say this: apart from 2 other people, they were all old as well, and they really enjoyed the movie.
Interesting,
which I think was interesting.
Anyway, that is interesting.
Yeah. But I suspect they were cinephiles. So
yeah, right. I mean, who would brave COVID to watch a movie in mask wearing days? You know what I mean?
And it's particularly see that movie when there are stuff like High Ground and Penguin Bloom and The Dry out as well. Maybe they've already seen them. Who knows? So that was my cinema experience for the most part. But I will also say this: there were several moments that the movies probably became better than they were because of the cinema experience.
Yeah,
I missed it so much, and it's a visceral thing.
Yeah,
being in the movies, watching a movie. Part of the reason I got slightly lazy streaming movies is because watching them in the cinema is so much better.
Yeah, and also it forces you to pay attention when you're in the cinema.
One thing I don't know if we mentioned on Soul. I wish I saw it at the cinema.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yep, I'm with you there. I really wish I saw this.
How was your experience, Jordan?
It was interesting. It was very interesting. I saw some really good stuff. I saw some really bad stuff. I saw some annoying stuff. I heard some annoying stuff. There was, the cinema going experience has changed a lot, and I'm grateful in a way because of that. I was kind of scared that COVID would be the nail in the coffin for cinemas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can we talk about masks? Because I feel like this is something else. I don't know how it is everywhere else in the world. In fact, it's now changed here in Australia. But for the last few weeks, we've been wearing masks.
A few months, really. It's been it's been a couple of months.
We've been wearing masks at the cinema, and for me, it's not a problem.
Yes,
because if I'm watching a movie, I get engrossed in it. I'm in there, and the mask. I'm Darth Vader. Who cares? I'm enjoying this movie. I'm on it.
He wears a lot of Star Wars themed masks. It's not like a fabric mask either. It's a full it's a visor. It's
not for health reasons.
Makes a lot of noise.
I may have been born asthmatic. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the look. It's part of who I am. I'm a dork. I get over myself.
He didn't even know that COVID was happening until last week, actually.
Yeah, I'm a bit behind on the times. I was kind of wondering why we got lazy.
He thought he was a trendsetter and he was wearing a mask and everyone was copying him, but...
Let's not get into the fact that Australia was wearing masks before the rest of the world.
True. Well, aside from New Zealand, but yes.
You were aware that part of the reason we had a mask shortage.
Well, let's be honest. Yeah. China was the first to wear masks.
No. Before COVID.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. China's been wearing masks since like early 2000s.
Well, it's not just China. It's a
you know what I mean.
It's an East Asian thing in general.
Yeah. Smart thing, honestly. We haven't had a huge flu in
they also
over
have
a year now.
No, but Shanghai and Beijing and Tokyo have massive problems with air as well.
Yeah, they do.
Let's not get into more of that.
Environment.
Yeah.
Politics.
So yes, so there's some different changes. Also, if you have a drink on you, you are legally allowed to lower your mask and take a drink.
Yes. Or food if you got like a bagel, a nice bagel with cream cheese.
Or a pizza bagel.
Or a pizza bagel.
Have you not heard of a pizza bagel?
Well, I have now. So that's something.
It's a big thing.
I hope it is. It sounds amazing.
It is. They're rather good. Okay, let's not get into Australian
but yes,
lack
masks
of culture.
have changed a lot of things, which is great. And it keeps us safe. But also, it's like... It is something that has discouraged people from coming.
It has discouraged people from going to the cinema, and once again, it's like that's another thing that's contributed to lower cinema turnouts. And I just want to say, not lifted. If you're here in Australia and you want to go see a movie, I encourage you to spend the money and go to the cinema, particularly if it's a smaller cinema.
Yeah,
I haven't been doing that. I kind of regret not doing that, although the smaller cinemas near me have been doing well, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
I want you to go and support your cinema, and I want you to see the movies on the big screen because they are better on the big screen.
Yeah. Especially if you have ADHD or something like that. It really, because I feel like I do have a little bit of that streak where I can get easily distracted.
I'm a pacer. And it's just a fact. I always have been, and I don't know if that's got to do with ADHD or anything else, but if I'm in the cinema, I'm locked in.
Yeah. It's like blinders.
You're forced to also, watch. It's healthier. Did you know it's actually healthier to watch a movie at the cinema than it is on the couch?
I fair enough.
I don't know why. I saw scientific studies on this though, so it's true.
It's also great because you're more locked in. It offers your body the opportunity to be able to feel what's going on more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you are more emotionally connected, you're physically grounded, you're in darkness aside from what you're watching on screen. It's fantastic for people to kind of just emotionally open up and get behind certain characters that their lives are playing out on screen, which is fantastic.
Did you have any moments in movies we might talk about negatively in a sec that you enjoyed more seeing in the cinema?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Do you want to share that? We're going to get into
anyway. let's get into the highlights and lowlights, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, there was some fantastic highlights. One of them being Bibi Betancourt from The Dry. This is a very young actress who this is her second role ever, aside from obviously uncredited short films or whatever. She was in The Dry, and she plays a catalyst character for the main character throughout the course of the plot. I'm not going to get into any details in case you haven't watched it, but her performance anchors the whole entire film.
It does, and it's funny that you brought it up because I didn't even think about her performance.
Yeah,
because to me it is the anchor of the whole movie in a sense where without her performance, the movie doesn't work. I think the movie barely works anyway.
No, it doesn't. Without her, it gets stripped of a lot of that urgency.
Yeah.
And if her performance was less than what she gave, it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, the difference between this and watching it on the couch at home. If I was watching this on the couch at home, I don't think I would have gotten some of the nuances of her portrayal.
Yeah. I also want to say, comparing this to High Ground, I feel like there could have been some performances in High Ground from certain actors that would have elevated it to a better movie, which weren't quite there. In fact, there were some performances that dragged it down a bit.
Yeah, I don't necessarily blame the actors for that.
No, I'm not. Once again,
but yeah.
You need an opportunity to have a performance.
Yes.
So once again, that's another thing. And she was given that opportunity in The Dry. So props to the director for realizing that. There are still problems with, I think it's adaptation.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
for me, the direction of The Dry, with what they had, fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
I think the directing job that this director has done has worked really well. I just think there might be some issues with the adaptation. The book, maybe there was some narrative choices that carried over from the book that didn't quite work.
I think so. What I think it is we've got essentially a cast of characters in the dry, and they become caricatures when they're not given enough time to breathe. And often with adaptations on books, sometimes Roizen's miniseries work better. Is you're given, I think, like some of the miniseries I think of, like I remember State of Play. It was a BBC miniseries that I loved, and the reason I preferred it much more to the movie that came out later with Russell Crowe, partly because of, anyway, performances in that movie, was the characters were allowed to breathe enough to give more.
Well, there's this saying that if you want to make a TV show, make it about a place. If you want to make a movie, make it about character. And for me, The Dry was trying to be about a place.
I mean, The High Ground has that same issue. It just,
And well, I mean, The High Ground has a lot more, like, there's some more of that we'll get into soon.
I will say this. I did actually prefer High Ground to The Dry in terms of entertainment.
Okay.
And I think I'd probably rate it as a higher movie because The Dry
That's one of my highlights. One of my highlights.
Dry.
One of my highlights for High Ground was the cinematography.
It was amazing. And you know what's funny?
The aerial shots, as much as I felt they were overused, they looked absolutely gorgeous.
I was so confused earlier because I was messaging you and it's like, you said this message that suggested you disliked the aerial shots. And I'm like,
I liked them, but when it came to the narrative, they didn't fit. And it felt like they were kind of overburdening the film with them.
In my opinion, it's one of those cases where you've got great stuff on set and the editor. I think there's some massive pacing problems with this movie.
Yes.
And I think it comes
down
to
High Ground.
With High Ground.
Yeah.
I know we're going to quickly jump back. And part of the problem is I think they did have these fantastic aerial shots and they just didn't want to edit them down.
Yeah, which is fair. But I mean, that wasn't the biggest problem.
No.
There were scenes in that film that didn't need to be there,
and
there was exposition that shouldn't have been there. There were other things, like, for me, without spoiling it, I believe the first 15 minutes of High Ground didn't belong because the catalyst of it.
Yes, it is the catalyst.
Should have been.
It's the driving.
Should have been the bomb under the table moment. It should have been the bomb under the table, and it wasn't. It was in our faces, and it took away from the dramatic impact of that moment.
It did, but I did see the storyline that it was trying to cause, where it is this. There is an effect, and now they're showing the causes and how they're lingering on.
But they didn't do that well enough.
No,
to be able to solidify that as a choice.
But also, I think part of the problem is there are some really heavy-handed dialogue choices.
Yeah.
So there's a line by an actor I don't really like anyway, which, I mean, that doesn't help when you don't like someone.
He's going to show up at your door and punch you in the face.
He could.
I hope he does that and then just shuts the door.
Yeah, I kind of wish we could just film that. That would be that would be a fantastic advert for the Film Roast podcast.
Yeah. Mulvey.
Yeah, Mulvey.
If Mulvey wants to do some punching, use Scotty as a punching bag.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Australian TV. Anyway, my point was that he has this line, and it's a terrible line because it's
on the nose.
It's too on the nose. It's giving us a broken nose. It's punching us so hard on the nose. It's I'm gonna try and
paraphrase.
It is Australia cannot be a shared country. It's like
we can't share it between two peoples. But which is so.
And then there's another line by Jack. Is it Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson is a U.S.
No, what's his name?
Actor. I don't know.
What's the old guy's name?
Something. So the old guy says
history is written by old bad men.
Yeah.
And
I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that was the point. Okay, this moment happens about 15 minutes from the end of the film.
Yeah.
This moment is the moment where we actually finally realize what Simon Baker's character is trying to do and be.
Yeah.
Which is a massive problem because we're following him for pretty much the whole film. And we don't know who he is or even care about what he does until that point. That's a problem.
We don't know who the film's following for the most of the movie.
The film doesn't know who it's following.
Because there's Gujut, otherwise, who's got an anglicized name.
Gujik.
I thought I had a T sound. Anyway, I'm terrible with names anyway, so that doesn't
Which
help.
means hawk.
Eagle.
No, it's hawk.
It's hawk, okay.
That's his totem. His totem is the hawk.
Okay.
And I love that this is the best part about the film is the Aboriginal spirituality part of High Ground.
For the most part, there was one line that I was once again really cringe. When they're talking, the conversation, and he talks about the Mother Nature line, that was a bit cringe.
No, I got it. I understood that. Just because from what here in Australia we study Aboriginal spirituality for a compulsory part of our high schooling, and I really loved that. That was my favorite part of high school, really. And taking that on board, for me, a lot of the dialogue for the Aboriginal people in this film,
a lot of the native dialogue was great.
Felt perfect. Yeah. The problem is our main character, Gujek, does not have any agency of his own.
No.
It's all decisions that are made
He's
for
reacting
him
to
by
two
other
other
people.
There's two other characters, his uncle and
Simon Baker.
Simon Baker.
Yeah.
Who does have Travis?
Travis, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And by the end of the film, I felt like a lot of the drama was a bit contrived and forced.
You see, I think that's the reason why the starting scene had to be there at the start.
No, it shouldn't have been there.
Because
I'm telling you, if it wasn't there, I would have bought the drama more.
I feel like it. Okay, we can disagree on that. That's fine.
Okay, well, no, because it's the bomb, and we're going to get to another film that we just came back from, which does this perfectly.
Yes.
Pixie, which is an Irish comedy action film. It does the bomb under the table perfectly. There is an event that happens before the film that impacts pretty much all of the characters' choices throughout the film. Does it perfectly. And it's only later that we realize, that's why a lot of this is happening. It's because this event happened.
But also because their characters have agency of their own to act anyway.
Yes. But my point is, High Ground doesn't have the confidence in that moment to be able to leave it off of the film and allow it to impact the rest of the narrative. Yeah. Whereas in Pixie, it has the confidence in its narrative to be able to say, you know what, the audience doesn't need to see this. We can show this later.
And the really ironic thing for me is that Aboriginal storytelling they love snaking storytelling where they go here, there, and everywhere. It's non-linear time.
Yeah.
So they'll start a story halfway through, and then they'll go, oh, actually, this is and then you'll describe the character over here, and then it's like, and then he died here. Let's get back to here. They love doing that, and they do it really well. They do it, and it can be really funny as well, the way they do it. We did a book at university on written by one guy, and it was really funny. But I can't remember the book, which is terrible. But it stood out to me, it stood out back of the noggin.
Yeah, it's the way you tell stories.
It is.
Like here, now.
Exactly. Here, there, and everywhere. But the point of the matter is, it didn't have that. It was very linear in terms of time.
It was a white man's film.
It was a stretched film as well.
It was a stretched white man's. That's what it was.
It was a Screen Australia movie.
And I feel like there was a bigger story underneath this that got clouded by somebody or something came through and decided, okay, we're not doing those scenes anymore because they're too controversial. So we're going to take those out. And that you're going to have to just cover the missing links there. Because there are some scenes that seem injected out of nowhere that don't belong.
It did feel like there were scenes that were missing and that there were scenes that went too long. So I had massive problems with pacing in this film.
Yes.
It just took you all over the place.
And also location.
Yeah.
It didn't understand the importance of solidifying location.
Yeah.
So when I say that, I mean recognizable things in a location that tell you where the characters are. There was moments where characters would teleport to a different place and you didn't know where it was.
And they had the opportunities to use, like there were actually distinct locations in this movie too.
Yeah, beautiful locations, but it felt like they showed a fantastic aerial shot. There are 15, I think, aerial shots which look beautiful, but they don't tell us anything about what's going on. And that's another reason why I was quite disappointed by the aerial shots, because they were so good looking, but they did nothing to service the plot.
Yeah.
And that was a huge problem. In Lord of the Rings, we talk about,
they serve the plot.
The aerial shots serve, the motion. There was no motion in High Ground. There was no motion of plot. There was no motion of character. There was just things happened and the camera was rolling and it didn't feel organic.
It was the old, it felt like that old writer's joke of there's things on a pinboard and you throw the dart at it and it hits one. Okay, that's next. And then you throw another one. Okay, that's next.
And as like, it might sound like I'm ripping into these films like The Dry and High Ground, but honestly, both of these films, their heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
They have some fantastic artists working across the board from cameras to lighting to location.
In terms of filmmaking in general in these two movies, I'm actually very happy because, especially compared to other movies that Australia's done, which I felt like The Dry for me is a bit dry. I know in many ways I can see what's coming from that movie, and the reason High Ground had a few twists and turns to it, even though it was fairly linear for the most part. I felt I was slightly more entertained.
Yeah.
I know it's strange to say, but at the same time, both these movies, for me, they didn't feel like Australian movies in terms of Australian movies have a look sometimes, and The Dry still had a resemblance of it.
Yeah.
But it was far away from something like Rams or Ride Me Like a Girl or... Sorry,
You're never going to get off that joke.
I'm not. It's just hilarious.
But yeah, like with Australian films, there is this kind of unrealistic viewpoint of the world that taints the look of a film. You know what I mean? Like, The Dry had a little bit of this. Like going back to some of the casting choices in The Dry, there is no Aboriginal people in The Dry at all.
No.
For an Australian film to have no Aboriginal cast members at all, except for one, like the wife of the policeman that works in the town,
and that felt like the most token of all.
And she was one of the highlights, to be honest. When she was on screen, she was interesting to watch. She was working her ass off.
Funnily enough, what she was is in many ways what a lot of the other characters should have been in a sense.
She felt like she was actually fleshed out for the little amount of time that we saw her, which is weird because she was on the screen for maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah. Talking about jumping all over the place, let's go to the movie we just saw, Pixie.
Yes.
Where we have a character who's in 3 scenes and is so fleshed out.
Yep.
It's amazing. You know exactly their entire life story and who they are, what they are.
The way that they carry themselves, the way that they speak. What they're interested in.
The way the rest of the movie sets them up just for those 3 scenes is perfect.
It is.
And that character's called Seamus, but we don't want to spoil anything. But so now to snake back to The Dry.
There was no real character moments for a lot of the main cast to really play with. You know what I mean?
They end up puppets. They end up caricatures. And that is ultimately why The Dry is so dry for me. And I have to use that pun.
That's fair. This is again not a mark against the artists behind these films, and it's not a mark against the actors
or the director as well.
All the actors and the director really pulled their weight. They did what they could. Unfortunately, I think this lies in the inherent heart of what the story is about.
Yeah,
and the problems that were already in there in the book that have been translated or brought to light.
It's one of those things where either you cut it down a lot more, or you flesh it out a lot more,
or make a series. I feel like High Ground and The Dry would have been better off if they were miniseries.
The thing is, I think there is actually an SBS series that's very similar to High Ground, and apparently it's very good.
Yeah.
I don't watch normal television anymore. Otherwise, I might be able to tell you more about that. But yes, I have heard good things about certain series on SBS.
Yeah. Another highlight from outside of Australia this time for me was Promising Young Woman.
It's your favorite movie of the month.
Yeah, it is my favorite movie of the month. Emerald Fennell, who's the director / writer of this film, she has an incredible command of how to direct. I think the way she is able to not just get what she wants out of her actors, but also to make sure that the script is tuned to them. You know what I mean? Yeah, there is this beautiful scene between Bo Burnham, who also gives a fantastic performance. Yeah. I feel like I was used to seeing this kind of Bo. You weren't, which is fantastic.
No, so it's one of those weird things. It's like, I know Bo's good.
Yes.
But there's a difference between a good character person and a guy who's actually really good on the big screen.
Yes.
I mean, people have complained about, what's her name from Friends for years for this? Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yes. Where people say she's good on TV, but she's never really good out on the big screen. I feel like Bo Burnham is actually really, really good on the big screen. And I don't know if he's going to get nominated, but I kind of want him to get nominated because there are elements.
Okay, there is a scene. This highlights what I'm talking about in terms of direction, writing, and performance. Carey Mulligan also does a fantastic job.
Yeah, in fact, she's amazing, and she disappears into the role.
Yeah,
where it's one of those roles where she gets gritty.
There is a scene between her and Bo where they're lying on the bed talking about love.
Yes.
And it is fucking perfect. Like the dialogue that they use, the
I
want
to buy you a bicycle.
And he's like, shut up, you crazy bitch. Let's talk about what this means for a second. And there is fantastic twists and turns through this script, through the story that work so well. And I saw some of these. I'm not going to say what they are, but I saw some of these coming from earlier on in the film. And when they hit, they still hit good. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what I mean. Joker had this thing. When I was watching Joker, it's like, I know how this whole sequence is going to play out. And it's like, I still got something out of the whole process.
Yes.
But with the thing with Dangerous Young Woman is you see things coming.
Dangerous Young Woman.
Promising Young Woman. She is dangerous.
She is dangerous.
But
Freudian slip.
Yeah, it's Freudian slip. Yeah. The thing is, as you see them coming, they still surprise you because there's this thing this movie does so well, and I think this is the key why she's such a great director, is the pacing in this movie is perfect because it's like a pendulum. It swings one way and another between the lead character's decisions.
And not just that, but the two conflicting desires of what she wants, because she wants to live a normal life, but she also wants closure on what happened to her friend. And the decision she makes to try and justify or marry these two desires internally is fantastic to watch. It's so fucking good.
There's one line that almost doesn't work, and I think when I say almost doesn't work, it does work. And it's when the father has a line that he says to the daughter, and I think it's actually his last line to her.
Yeah.
To the lead. And I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But it highlights that she isn't there.
Yeah.
And the movie is about her. It's not about, there's a tragedy before this movie that highlights the whole movie, and you don't ever see it. You hear it a little bit, but you don't ever see it, and it's not important because she is living this disaster.
This is what I'm talking about in terms of what High Ground couldn't do.
Yes.
The bomb under the table. The event, the catalyst that causes all of this to happens before the film starts. And it's not important what it was. What is important is how the characters are dealing with it and evolving from that, which is fantastic. So that's my favorite film.
Can also say it's really funny seeing Annie be a mum role.
It's weird because you expect her from American Pie to be, airheaded, and she plays that role so well. But I love this turn from her as well. She was very fantastic.
That every single person who has a bit part in this movie is fantastic. Even down to the best man at the wedding.
Oh my God, what a piece of shit.
He's perfect.
It's great.
It's great.
Maxwell from New Girl. I can't remember his name.
And also the lawyer. He's in one scene. He's a character actor. You've seen a whole bunch of stuff, but it's like he's perfect in one scene.
Yeah.
And also, but the bit roles in this movie allow the lead actors to shine even more.
Alfred Molina is the lawyer, and he's fantastic.
But his roles, they allow the leads
to
have even more range and reactions are so important.
This is peak art in terms of filmmaking, because in filmmaking it's all collaborative. So if you have someone who's dominating the screen, and other people are trying to compete with that, from the director to the cameraman to the, you know what I mean?
I know exactly
it won't work. So for me, when I saw this film, I was like in heaven. Compared to, and I'm going to throw another
are you talking about The Revenant again?
Yeah, The Revenant. The Revenant. The problem I had with The Revenant is exactly why I love this movie. In The Revenant, you had a lot of competing things. You had Tom Hardy doing his thing, which is fantastic, but he is struggling to take focus off of Leonardo DiCaprio, who is also trying to do his own thing. And then you've got Lubitsky behind the camera, who is going fucking nuts with these amazing shots. And they're all competing. They're not working together to bring something up. And then you've got this film, which is Promising Young Woman, doing everything to bolster everyone in the whole production. And I love that.
We haven't mentioned cinematography in Promising Young Woman. I almost called it Dangerous Young Woman again, which is really funny.
It's true.
But there are simple cinematography tactics done in this movie, and framing of shots as well. There's some shots that are so beautifully framed.
Yes.
When Alison Brie goes back to her.
Yes.
And there's that confrontation, the way those shots are framed, this whole situation.
It's so juicy.
It is. It's very theatrical too.
You don't recognize it. Like, so for High Ground, we talk about aerial shots. We talk about certain things that we're aware of. In Promising Young Woman, this film was so good, I wasn't aware of the camera at all. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
It was invisible, and it was conjoined with the plot so well that I didn't know or care about what it was doing.
But once again, the pacing of this movie is so brilliant because the camera and the cinematography enhances that.
Yeah.
Where we feel the sway of the decision, and there's a decision that is made.
Yeah.
And the decision is made and it goes back again. It's made one way and it goes back again. And you feel it, and the whole framing of the movie. There are Roman numerals that appear in this movie.
Yes.
And they also matter. Well, actually, not Roman numerals now I think about it. Because of the last ones, they're thingies. Because of the last ones,
they're marks. Yeah, they're marks. Like on a prison wall, actually, which is a poignant metaphor. But yeah, fantastic. Everything. See, this is the thing with this movie. Mm-hmm. Everything is a decision. It wasn't like we're just gonna show up on the day and wing it. It was like, no, this is how the shoot is going to go. These are the shots I want. These are the performances I want from these particular actors. And they go out, they make those decisions, and they get what they need. High Ground, I don't feel had that. I feel like they kind of weren't sure how to get what they were after. That's what it felt like. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's the end result.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there were things that the actors thought was in High Ground that didn't end up being, and there were things in High Ground that probably should have been cut.
Yeah.
So once again, it's down to anyway. We might blame production for that.
Yeah. One other thing that I want to mention in this list, One Night in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
One Night in Miami is a feature film debut by Regina King. And for a debut, it is on another level.
And this is on Amazon, so you can watch it right now on Amazon.
And Regina King comes from an acting background. Mm-hmm. She's, Academy Award nominated winner, I'm pretty sure, Emmy winner. She's won a shit ton of awards for acting. She knows how to communicate with actors, which is fantastic. And it really shows in this film.
That's the other thing that Little Bird director has as well. I can't remember her name.
Well, now you can't remember it. I can't remember it.
You know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Little Woman director too.
But the cast, Regina King knows how to get what she wants from her cast. And the cast includes...
Greta Gerwig. There, I remembered.
Greta Gerwig, good job.
Yeah.
Leslie Odom Jr., Kingsley Benadir, Eligary, and Aldous Hodge. Uh-huh. They are playing all of these, prolific African-American success stories. And they are fucking owning it. And
I'm a massive fan of Leslie Odom Jr. anyway.
He's so good.
He is. Just to go off the sidetrack, part of what made Hamilton so successful was while we had what's-his-face, the writer, doing his stuff, it was Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance as
it was all of them. It was the characters that they were playing.
No, but it was his dramatic performance in the heart of that. His performance is actually the heart of the entire show if you watch it. Everyone else is playing off him except for I can't remember
Hamilton.
Yeah.
If you can't remember the actor's name, say the character.
Yes. The writer and director. Well, he didn't direct.
I want these people to know that we're professionals, Scotty.
We are professionals who forget names. I'm very bad with names, Adam.
It is almost 9 p.m. But that is our highlights and lowlights. I think that's pretty much it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a little breather, a little break, have a listen to some nice music, and we're going to be back with our technique of the month. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a little chat about that.
Dum, dum, dum. Talking about this week?
We are looking into deep fakes.
Deep fakes.
Yes. So recently, if you've been keeping up to date on your Disney Plus, you'll notice The Mandalorian's final episode of the second season features an effect. Features an effect. I'm not going to say who it is.
I will.
Features Features an effect that replaces an actor's face with that of somebody else.
That being the face of a young Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker.
Oh, if you didn't want that, too bad. You got it. Anyway. At least we warned people before that happened.
I did. Well, the reason we want to talk about deepfakes is I think it's fascinating that we're not at the end of this technology.
We're barely at the start.
We're barely at the start.
Did you know?
Did I know?
That this technique has been developed since the early 1990s.
Really? What was it for?
Mostly entertainment. It wasn't done for any other reason. It was entertainment CGI companies back in the 90s that were developing new ways of doing things.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Was ILM involved?
I assume they were. Apparently, it was a bunch of people. It was kind of like a race, kind of like the space race, where a lot of technology companies and stuff were trying to get stuff out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Same thing goes for Pixar. I'm pretty sure were part of this. And I think it's only been really taken off in the last 8 years or so. When the Obama videos came out a couple of years ago, back in like 2014, 15.
The creators of South Park have a YouTube series where they are using it to great comedic effect.
Yes. Not just them.
No,
but
not just them.
The effect, the deep fake technology has been used for fantastic entertainment purposes and horrible
decisions.
The recent, oh god,
where do we begin? Let's begin with the one that obviously didn't work and probably destroyed a movie franchise. Let's go back to Tron Legacy, because I think
yeah, fair. I mean, that really deep fake. I mean, to an extent, yeah,
it is. I think this is kind of the key. Is there are basically two ways of doing it. You've got the Rogue One way, which is where you completely you take and you create a digital character model and you overplace it on someone's head. And then there's the deep fake, where it's essentially you create a digital mask.
Yes.
Which uses similar technology to motion capture with the dots on the head. And if you know anything about motion capture, well, that's good for you, because if you don't, you should go find out, because motion capture is fascinating stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just look at Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis's work. I think his portfolio is just 80% motion capture.
And he's a great actor.
He's fantastic. Yeah. And I think it's such a shame that the Academy still hasn't recognized his work as a motion capture artist.
Dead, because that's how it works, right?
God, I hope they do something about it soon. Because, I mean, Toby Kebbell as well, in the most recent Planet of the Apes films, the last few of them, his performance in that is, I mean, just as good as any other performance by any other actor at the top of their game.
And then probably the sad thing with Toby Kebbell is he hasn't, some of his live performances haven't got as much, well, they haven't been as good. So it's like, it kind of sucks for him in that regard, because he is a great actor.
I want to watch the Planet of the Apes films again, because they're really good. Anyway, so yeah, off the back of motion capture, this technology has finally kind of reached the mainstream, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I think there was sort of a push as well, thanks to Star Wars, where there are actors who are past their prime, to be fair.
Or dead. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Disney owns their likeness, so they'll put it wherever they fucking want.
Let's get into that, because I think the morality of using deepfakes is kind of a big one. When you see Peter Cushing's face.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, no one asked Peter Cushing's family. No one goes, I mean, he certainly wasn't aware. He passed for quite a while.
It's a grey area legally, I feel.
Very grey area.
I feel like someone's likeness, even though you can attach to a person, the problem happens when it's a character.
Yeah.
Because a character's likeness isn't licensed to the, you know what I mean?
No, it's trademarked to the
company.
It's
trademarked to the people who've created the character.
Actually, I just remembered the big one for me, which was actually the Fast and Furious films.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Because if you aren't aware, actually, do you want to get into it? Because
so Paul Walker, around, was it Fast 7?
Yeah, I think it was Fast 7, yeah.
Fast 7, yeah. Before that film was completed, he passed away in a tragic car accident, and production continued. And I really can't. I've got friends who love the franchise, and I have partaken, and I enjoy some of the films. But
I don't. Yes.
I can't. I find it. It's such a horrible grey area, and I don't think they should have done it. But they used a lot of shots in that film with deepfake technology. They used his brother as a stand-in actor. And to have something like a reference point for his likeness. But there's a lot of problems there.
At least they discussed it with his family. I think that's key.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, for me, it's a big thing of it does still feel in poor taste, and the reception for it. I think it was slightly mixed, but I think for the most part,
just slap an R&B soundtrack on it in a major key, and people will like it. You know what I mean? Like, people will cry in the cinemas.
I think there were a lot of people.
To be fair, I had that reaction when I saw it. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, and it was so conflicting because I was sad that Paul Walker had died, and this is obviously a tribute to him, which was actually really nice. It was a good tribute, but there was still this layer of, is this? Oh, this feels dirty watching this. It feels gross.
Okay, I guess that brings us to another area of interest then, because we see in Into the Spider-Verse, we see, even though it was recorded before he died, the great Stan.
Yeah, Stanley.
We see him in the movie. In fact, I think he pops up more than you think he does. I think he's secretly in a lot of frames in that movie.
Yeah.
That's fine. And to me, that it feels fine and it is fine.
Yeah.
What's the difference there because it's animated? Is that why?
I think there is an agreed upon knowledge by not just the creators, but also the people watching this. Mm-hmm. They know who Stan is. Yeah. They know Stan Lee helped create Spider-Man. They know how important his image is to the franchise, but not just that. They know how important his image is to the fans. Yeah. And having him included in that and knowing that, his estate is okay with that.
In fact, they would love it. Yeah. Stan Lee himself loves being in things.
Exactly. And because of that fact, because of that general knowledge by everyone, it's accepted and allowed as something that is a tribute, not something that is trying to make money off of someone's image.
Yeah, I think that's the big key. It ticks all the boxes in terms of he would approve, they approve, all the people on his side approve.
Yeah.
But also, I think the work was complete. I think that's another key.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
it's his voice in it. It's not somebody else trying to do a bad impression of him. And another thing is, like, if we were looking at it from a fiscal perspective, if Disney decided, okay, we're going to make a TV show about a fictionalized version of Stan Lee, and we're going to deep fake his face onto another actor.
And then have someone try to do his voice. Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a big red flag because you are literally using a person to get money. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all it is. There is nothing about that idea that tells me that Disney gives a shit about Stan Lee as a person, as a memorable figure. They're just trying to cash in on something. I'm not saying they've done it, and I'm not saying they will, but an action like that tells me that they don't respect him, and that's a big problem.
Do you think it's also to do with double standards? Where, take Star Wars, for example, where we've had characters who have been played by two different actors now.
Yeah.
And with the Solo movies, we've had people play them again. And then we have this thing where we have Luke Skywalker and it's deep faked. Yeah. Or we had Princess Leia and Tarkin, even though it was different technology, it wasn't deep fake. It was something different.
Yeah.
The fact that
it was comboed. It was kind of
it's the same idea.
They used motion capture and they used photorealistic images of Peter Cushing.
It's not what you call deep fake technology. It's a digital remodel.
But unfortunately, we're seeing it now. Even if you go to YouTube and type in deep fake Princess Leia or deep fake Peter Cushing or Grand Moff Tarkin or whatever you want, people have taken those shots from Rogue One, and they have made it better with deep fake technology. Yeah. And I think,
well, Disney's obviously listened to those because they've started doing that themselves in terms of they've created their own deep fake technology.
Yes, but it's not as good.
No, actually, we should point this out. We don't know exactly what technology they used in The Mandalorian because they haven't announced it. And I think we should give a shout out to the Corridor crew.
Yeah, Corridor crew, you guys are fantastic on YouTube. Go check them out if you haven't seen it.
And all that stuff for them.
Yeah, they're good. But yeah, they recently did a video a couple of days ago, as of this recording, where they went into deepfake technology. In particular, the scene in The Mandalorian that utilizes a similar thing, and they kind of did a better job. Like they fixed it, you know what I mean? Yeah. They got someone who doesn't look like Mark Hamill at all, just in every sense of that word.
He's their editor, which is really fun.
And they did this fantastic thing where, like you can tell it's not Mark Hamill because of the body and all that stuff. But the way in which his version of Mark Hamill reacts and acts within the world that they've built on screen, it works better than what The Mandalorian did.
Yeah, I think this is one of the keys to CG is lighting. It makes a big difference. And the key with deepfake especially is it's a mask.
And not just that, but like what point of reference do people look at when they look people in the face?
The eyes.
The eyes. That's the big thing when it comes to these kinds of things. With CGI, you take a look at the Rise of the Planet of the Apes films.
Yeah.
The thing that they nail are the eyes. And the realistic lighting on the eyes, not just the realistic lighting, but the movement of the eyes.
The muscles around on the eyes as well.
They are perfect. Yeah. But when you look at Peter Cushing's CGI'd version in Rogue One, or Princess Leia's CGI version in Rogue One, or Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian, the biggest problem that divides the audience from the art and in that sitting in that uncanny valley is how those eyes react.
And they're dead.
People can, not just that, but people can look at something and subconsciously say, okay, something's not right here. You know what I mean? Their subconscious brain is telling people this isn't right.
I think the big key with this is The Lion King, the new Lion King movie.
The CGI Lion King. The CGI Lion King.
Because we saw that for the first time and we're like, this is wrong.
Yep.
And there's nothing that, once you see that, the rest of the movie's ruined for you. Yep. And let's be honest, the movie's rubbish because of that very fact, even though it has other issues as well. We see the movie, we see the look, and we're like, no.
Yeah.
And it's an instantaneous reaction.
Because you look at, and not just that, but you look at the original Lion King, the way in which the characters are animated, there is no uncanny valley because what the characters are doing physically, even though it's extrapolated, even though it's been stretched beyond realism.
It matches its world.
It matches its world, but it also is identifiable. We know what a surprised look looks like on Simba when he's walking through the elephant graveyard.
Yeah.
We know what fear looks like on Scar when he's at the bottom of Pride Rock and the hyenas are crowding around him. We understand what that looks like because we feel it. In the CGI version of it, we can't see any of those emotions or anything like that.
There's a disconnect.
There's a huge disconnect, and there's also like they didn't want to go all unrealistically cartoony by allowing a lot of those emotions to play on the characters' faces. Unfortunately, I think it would have worked better if they did. Yeah. But this is the uncanny valley. If CGI characters or deepfake images can't replicate what a real emotion looks like in the eyes, in the mouth, it doesn't matter what they do, nobody's going to buy it.
But we're not at the end of this technology.
No, we're at the very beginning.
This technology can get better. And when it does get to level, it will be amazing.
But I think we're going to have to wait until the internet stops becoming the Wild West. And the reason why I say this is because deepfake technology has recently created a reputation for itself by being used in pornography. Predominantly celebrity, and I know it's like yeah, of course, but I think that's one of the reasons why so many reputable studios won't go all in on deepfake technology because of a lot of this internet gray area shit.
Well, I think the fact that Disney have got their own version now will be like once the dominoes are pushed, I think it'll be fine. But yes, I think that was a reason that they were straying away, or they were trying to use alternative versions, with like the full character models and stuff like that.
Because if you start talking about a new technology that you're using, if Disney starts throwing around the word deepfake and then a kid goes online and looks up deepfake, the chances of them finding pornography are so fucking high.
It's so, you know how easy it is to find pornography. It is easy.
I could probably look it up on my smartwatch right now.
I've seen YouTube videos of like it's the Wikipedia thing.
It's borderline.
You know the old Wikipedia joke. How quickly can you get from one to Hitler?
Literally 2 clicks.
But it's the same. It's the same with pornography, and it is everywhere.
Yep.
Let's accept it. It is everywhere online. And
it is.
I have pop-up ads from various things I see, and it's there.
Well, that's on you, buddy.
It is on me. That's just the way of the life. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
But yeah, like I feel like there's this huge gray area. Once we handle that, I think it's going to be a lot better for a lot of film studios that want to do this kind of thing. I am a little bit worried about where it's heading in terms of like, okay, well, once Tom Cruise kicks the bucket, like,
can he?
Is there going to be? Is there going to be like a fair point?
I thought Cthulhu had his soul. I thought he was going to be here forever and ever.
Yeah. I feel like there's a time limit on that. I think 90 years, and then after he dies.
I don't worry, the apocalypse will be by then anyway.
But yeah, like if he kicks the bucket, and they make Mission Impossible 15. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where's the line going to be drawn?
They could actually kill him now. They can actually have him drop off the plane.
That's true.
And make a zombie
Tom
Cruise.
And they'll never have to worry about him doing his own stunts ever again.
Oh, dear. This got really dark. But that is kind of the thing. It is dark. And with the Mark Hamill thing, with this Luke Skywalker, there was several layers where it was, there was an actor who gave a performance. And on top of that, they gave Mark Hamill, and then they had the actual thing. Yeah. So there was like multiple layers. When dealing with people who have passed away, it is going to get more complicated and
in a way easier, I feel. Yeah. Like, because with the whole Mark Hamill thing, his performance and the other actor's performance and the CGI performance, all three things are conflicting, and you can see it in the performance. Like, you're watching it and you're going, okay, I know his face, the lighting on his face changed because he tilted his head down, but his face hasn't moved.
No.
What the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the body is a mask of Mark Hamill's CGI face, and it doesn't work. And this technology can, like, doing it with the deepfake way, which is just 2 layers.
Yeah.
You've got picture reference and the performance underneath.
Yeah.
There's an actor who looks like the spitting image of young Luke Skywalker.
I think the thing is,
which is crazy. And Disney has access to him.
Yeah.
And they won't use him, which is so weird, because they could have just given Sebastian Stan a call and said, hey, you know what? Do you want to be? And he's a Star Wars fan. I'm sure he'd love to do it.
And let's be honest, it's like, no, I don't think Mark Hamill would be embarrassed or feel slide in the slide. He'd be like, oh, yeah, this is cool.
Exactly.
Because Mark Hamill's a massive nerd and he also loves collaborating. So for him, this is great.
That would have been fucking sick if they got him, Sebastian Stan, on set of The Mandalorian doing that role without deepfake. I will say he looks so much like him.
I will say this about The Mandalorian though and ILM. You know, they have done several things in this show that basically because they could.
Yeah.
The models, for example.
I'm not happy with it.
You're not. So the way they've shot the Star Cruisers and the fighter sequences.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's all the classic way of doing it.
But the way that certain things have been done and written, I'm not a big fan of. But that's for another time.
Yeah, that's not to do with ILM though. Not really.
Sort of, but it's kind of like this weird.
That's your own personal take, and that's fine.
It's this addiction to what came before that I have a problem with.
You don't like everything being interconnected too much. Well,
not just that, but like. Looking back on fond memories is not necessarily the best way to make art.
No, it's not.
You can't just keep going back to the same dead horse and exploiting it again and again and again.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of tired of seeing it.
Yeah, but that's okay because there's going to be hundreds of different shows they're going to do, which are all going to kick the dead horse. Anyway,
too many of them.
Sorry, I'm just sort of teasing Jordan right now.
But you know what I mean. Like,
I do know what you mean.
I want something fresh. I want something interesting and fresh.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of curious to see if they will, which way will end up being better as well, the deep fake classic mask system, or if they will get to the stage where full digital replicas become really easy as well. I said replicants, sort of Freudian slip, because they actually did that in Blade Runner 2049 as well.
They did, and they did it quite well.
That was good. But once again, I think lighting helped with that.
Lighting helps, and also the character in question didn't have a lot to do.
No.
And she didn't have a lot of emotion to begin with.
No, exactly.
So that really helped.
It did help that the character they chose was perfect.
And the character was a replicant. So she was a robot already. And it's kind of like, we can use the uncanny valley to our benefit here instead of trying to actively fight against it, which is a very smart use of technology.
We should also talk about de-aging technology because it's part of this as well.
Yes. Marvel has made a good name for themselves doing it.
I think the key is with the aging technology, because I think I want to simplify it really quick. When the actor has to perform in a scene and they are capable of doing that with their own physical abilities, then it's fine.
Yes.
When an actor is pushed to a limit, like
I know where you're going.
Let's be honest, The Irishman sucks, and it sucks for very many reasons. But poor Robert De Niro, sorry, he might look slightly younger, but he walks like an old man.
An 80-year-old Robert De Niro who says he's 30.
I did not believe that for 1 second.
Shuffling around like an 80-year-old trying to fix his car engine. And it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, Scorsese really. What they did there was wrong, and it didn't work.
I'll give De Niro a hug in real life for everything he puts into his roles.
Yeah,
but that was beyond him, and it's not his fault.
No, it isn't. He's old now. You can't expect him to be able to act like a 30-year-old. It's not possible. What they should have done was they should have had him perform in a studio, taken his face, and then did what they did with Armie Hammer in the Facebook in the Social Network, where they just slapped his face onto a different body, someone else's body. Easiest solution, best solution. It's worked many times before. Why didn't you use it?
This is where deepfake could get better because this is a classic example of where we'd like to see it.
Yeah.
We'd like to see an actor with many layers where you've got the stand-in actor who's a young person and can do everything that needs to be done in a correct manner.
Yeah.
And then we've got the face of Robert De Niro matching it in the performance.
Yeah.
That can work together. We've just so everyone knows, we've had collaborations between actors in movies for years. Star Wars is a classic example.
Yeah.
We had 3 people playing Darth Vader.
Decades.
3 people playing Darth Vader.
Many. And not just that, but like the best way to do it, right, is you have the performance on set first. So on the day, performance by the young person. Then you have the actor who they want to facially like replicate and put onto that thing. Copy the movements of that person. Like the head movements, everything, and then you layer it as best you can onto that scene.
Yeah,
that's the best way to do it. It is, because you handle so many problems that way. That way, you're not getting this weird ghosting thing where the main actor, let's say Robert De Niro, does his own thing, and then you're trying to match it with the young actor's movements, and it doesn't work. Mark Hamill, it happened in The Mandalorian.
It did.
We have moments where the young actor has moved his head in a different way, and it's the CGI is struggling to match what Mark Hamill actually looks like with his head moved that way.
I think part of that, though, may be down to TV budget versus movie budget.
Yes.
I think if this had
I want to talk about that as well.
Okay, go ahead.
The biggest problem with CGI is time over budget.
Yeah.
The reason why the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park works is because A, they utilize dark lighting to make it realistic, and B, they put in enough time. They gave it enough time to be able to render. The biggest problem with the excuse of it's a TV budget, they didn't have enough time. Yes, they didn't have enough time, but if you are show running a TV show and you know your limitations and you know your time limit, you should be planning for this shot before anything else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You should be planning for it. And I'm sorry, by the time you get there, not having enough time is no excuse unless the studio at the last minute said, we want Luke in this scene right now.
No, you know what's the thing? I actually think that it might have been one of the very first scenes they shot and they still didn't have enough time because it was a yearly basis. And I think there are some shots that are that experimental, where you literally can have all the time in the world if the technology isn't up to scratch yet.
But that being said, it's worked in other areas.
Yes, it has. But I think this is what's interesting, though. We're going to get to the stage where we will be able to see Nicolas Cage for years to come. And I'm using this as a segue because I have a fantastic trivia for you today.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. For me or for the audience?
This is for both of you. You can play along at home.
All right, cool. Well, I'm not going to give any answers then. I'll just speculate wildly.
Oh, but the thing is, this is all true or false.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. Today we're doing a quiz from GQ. And the quiz is this.
Wait, hold on. Before we do this, can we look up the answers online for this? Like, are the answers on the GQ webpage?
Yes, they are.
Oh, God damn it.
Why?
You shouldn't have said GQ. You should have just said a different thing. That it's not GQ, guys.
Okay. You can look up the answers at home, but I'm also going to say the answers after thing. I'm going to give you a break, but you can, if you want to be honest, you can go as long as home. Okay.
Is there anything in it for our listeners?
They are. This is hilarious. These
are. No. I mean, is there any prizes for the winner?
Well, maybe.
First one in. First one in our inbox.
Yeah,
we'll get something.
Which we will decide at a later date.
It could be movie tickets, but it could also be a naked photo of Scotty signed by the man himself.
It could be, but it's not going to be a dick pic. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, so this is. I'm going to tell you a plot.
It's going to be from the ankle down.
This is. I'm going to tell you a plot outline.
Yes.
And you have to tell me if it's true or false.
Oh, God.
And this is all Nicolas Cage movies.
Okay. All right.
So, Nicolas Cage has owned 2 pet king cobras, accidentally purchased a stolen dinosaur skull, and named his son Kal-El after Superman.
True. I'm going to say true.
Well, yeah, it's true. That was just actually talking about Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is number 1.
All right. Okay, cool. So don't give me the answers. You're not allowed to say any of the answers, all right? I'm going to try my best.
Yeah. I'll let you have a go. Don't worry. Cage plays a washed-up film star, also named Nicolas Cage, who makes a paid appearance at a millionaire Mexican birthday party in an attempt to get out of crippling debt. The billionaire turns out to be a drug cartel kingpin and wannabe screenwriter who drags Cage's estranged teenage daughter and ex-wife into danger. The CIA enlists Cage to take him down using skills he's acquired in previous action movies. True or false?
I'm not going to answer that because I know the answer.
Yeah.
So this is up to you guys. You guys need to figure this one out.
Yeah. Number 2.
Cage plays a grumpy old hermit who lives undisturbed in the woods of upstate New York until the day some hikers steal his denim jacket airbrushed with a pack of wolves to resell at their Williamsburg thrift store at 600% markup. Oh, God. So he teams up with an actual pack of wolves to get his jacket back and exact revenge. True or false?
I feel like you need to. I think you should have prefaced this with, "This is a true or false quiz."
Yeah.
About Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah.
So are these movies actual films or are these just made up? All right. Continue. I really hope it's true because that sounds like a fucking amazing movie.
No, you have to. We'll have a break. Now give me your answer. I want to know. Do you think it's true or false?
I think it's true.
No, that one's false.
Ah, damn it.
Okay. Back to the quiz. Cage plays a truffle hunter who lives in complete solitude in the Oregon wilderness with only his beautiful and cherished foraging pig to keep him company. But when she's kidnapped, he's forced to go into the big city of Portland to confront his past and bring her home. True or false?
I know someone from Portland. Shout out to Portland. I think that is. See, he's made so many films. Mm-hmm. Is this question for the audience or is this for me?
They're both. It's for the.
I can't answer it. If they're going to answer it, you can't tell me whether I'm right or not.
They're going to play along at home. It's fine.
Oh God. Okay, I think it's true.
It is. It's called Pig.
Fuck yes. We need to watch these, man. We need a Nicolas Cage marathon.
Yeah, this one.
Everyone needs a Nicolas Cage marathon in their lives at some point, or at multiple points. Probably usually after a divorce. I feel like that's peak Nicolas Cage film watching.
Yeah. Every 6 years. This is number 4. The fate of the Earth is left in the hands of an ancient order of jiu-jitsu fighters who must face off against an alien invader. Cage plays a veteran jiu-jitsu fighter who teams up with a young fighter to conquer the alien race once and for all. And the alien is also named Brax.
True.
Okay. It is.
Yeah. I think I actually saw a trailer for this recently.
It's going to be based on a comic series called Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5. Cage plays a drifter lured into a job as a custodian at a condemned amusement park.
True.
Yeah, it is. Okay, that one's too.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyone?
Yeah.
This film is coming out soon, and it's like they've deliberately named it not Five Nights at Freddy's. It's Wally's Wonderland, but it's so Five Nights.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay. Cage plays an international terrorist who wakes up from a coma to discover that his FBI enemy agent has stolen his butt. Assless and enraged, he forces the doctor who did the transplant procedure to give him the FBI agent's butt instead.
Oh God!
Then takes off to destroy him for good. True or false?
I'm gonna say false, but if it's true, I will be forever impressed and really need to see this film.
It is fake, but Face Off is getting a reboot.
A reboot?
Yeah, it's not a reboot.
Rebooty. Get it? Yeah. Is he going to be in it, or is it going to be somebody else?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we're gonna have to. We'll check back with you guys later.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
On the Face Off reboot issue.
30 years after the original Moonstruck, Nicolas Cage and Cher reprised their roles as Ronnie Camilleri and Loretta Castorini. The two are struggling to keep their marriage together and their Brooklyn Heights bakery afloat, as greedy developers are cycling into a combination Chase Bank dog-friendly matcha bar. Also, Ronnie has long since lost his other hand in another bread machine accident. True or false?
I'm going to say false. Like, surely not.
It is false, but there are movements online pushing for something like this to happen.
Isn't that like a James Bond movie, Moonstruck? Oh, no, that's Moonraker.
That's Moonraker, yeah. No, the original Moonstruck was the Nicolas Cage Sure movie.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it. So
it's really good.
There you go.
Cage plays this is number 7. Cage plays an infamous criminal who is hauled in and strapped with grenades that will go off if he doesn't comply with a job for the authorities.
I thought you were going to say infant.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage plays an infant.
No, infamous criminal. Save the kidnapped. So if he doesn't comply with the job for the authorities, save the kidnapped governor's daughter from her kidnappers, who are ghosts.
So this is.
Just clarify. He's going to play a criminal strapped with grenades.
This is a Jackie Chan movie on steroids, but with Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had too many falses. I'm going to say true, just to even it out.
Yeah, this is real.
Yeah, wow, I knew it.
Cage will wear a skin-tight black leather jumpsuit with grenades attached to different body parts in Prisoners of the Ghostland. He also said, it might be the wildest movie I've ever made, and that's saying something.
And The Move.
Yes.
The wildest movies ever made. Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Yes, that's Nicolas Cage. That was today's trivia. Please send in your answers, and if you got it right, we will think of you and maybe give you a shout out as well in the next podcast.
Yeah. Even though we kind of made it easy by me saying.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I trust our listeners. They're honest people.
Okay, there, Scotty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know it is the 60th anniversary of 101 Dalmatians, the Disney animated movie?
Holy shit. Wow. Yeah. 60 years.
60 years of 101 Dalmatians.
Did you know that they're making a not a reboot, but a Cruella de Vil central film?
Yes, I did.
Starring Emma Stone as Cruella de Vil.
I like.
I think it's going to work.
No. The weird thing about Emma Stone is
she's too nice. She's too likable. How are we going to hate Cruella?
No, yeah, she's not good. I mean? You're right. She's not good at flawed characters. I don't think she's good at flawed characters.
No, she's great at flawed characters, but innocently, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know,
like,
I know. Okay.
The nice flawed, not.
I didn't mean flawed.
Not pieces of shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
And this isn't a mark against her again. I'm just saying.
She's sweet.
She's
like Emma
nice.
Stone.
And I prefer.
I'd like to have drinks with Emma Stone.
She'd
I'd like to go out. What's your phone? I think she's married, actually.
Get you the phone number. I just on my phone. Yeah. But yeah, that's been January.
Yeah,
for the Film Roast podcast.
Please tell us what you think of this new format, because this is the new format.
Feedback is imperative,
because we do want to have sort of like a tentpole show we do every month that will sort of highlight everything of the month. We want to go through everything. We want to see as much as possible.
I would like to do some mini-sodes in between these big ones, where we kind of talk to you guys. I want to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your voices as well. If you want to send through like a voice clip of. I don't know. You could.
Jordan also really wants to run a Reddit.
Me and run a Reddit.
Yeah, he wants.
How's that for internet lingo?
Yes.
Let's run a Reddit, everybody.
Yeah. He really wants to mod a Reddit, and
I feel like I should be like adjusting my braces.
Yeah.
My long-legged pants and got my glasses going.
Yes, he's got the glasses.
I want to have a Reddit going.
Yes.
Please listen to my opinions on my Reddit.
Yes.
Because that's how Reddit works.
Yeah, it is. Definitely upvote that. That will get several medals.
Oh, wow. We know how to internet. We really do.
We're in that age.
But yes, we want more feedback. We want to hear from you guys. We want to talk to you guys. We want to figure out your opinions on stuff.
Yeah.
And possibly if things progress, we want to find Scotty a lover.
This is a long-standing joke with everyone I know. It's they play the game of get Scotty a wife.
This has been the whole point of this podcast, Scotty. We've been doing this for over a year now to try and find you somebody to love.
Well, I'm not getting on Twitter for Rebecca Ferguson or Florence Pugh. Sorry. As much as I love them.
Florence Pugh is already taken. I'm pretty sure Rebecca Ferguson. Yeah. So you're out of luck.
Celebrity crushes are fine.
Yes.
Simping is fine to a certain degree.
Simping is always fine.
Yeah.
Hey, if there's anyone out there who wants to simp for us, I'm more than happy to accept that. I won't talk to you or even reply to you, but I'm happy to read the messages.
We'll appreciate it. I'll also say, just in case we didn't say, Jordan's favorite movie of the month was?
It was Promising Young Woman.
And my favorite movie of the month was Why am I pointing to myself? I should be answering my own question. My favorite movie of the month was Pixie.
Yes. That was my close second.
And it was vice versa. Yeah, These were clearly our first number one and number two.
Top two, really.
I haven't seen One Night in Miami yet, and that's a crime.
He will.
I will.
He will.
Saul was also very good.
There is also some very underrated films across Amazon that we didn't see. Amazon, Netflix, and not Disney Plus.
We saw Saul.
So what was that?
Saul. We saw Saul.
Oh yes, no, but you know what I mean. Like underrated. There's a bunch that just came out that are really fantastic. Plumb the internet, go through and delve, find something to watch. If there was a
movie that you really appreciate that came out in January, we would love to hear it.
Give us suggestions because we want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
And maybe there is a special lady out there for Scotty. Please send in your filthiest request.
Yeah. Also, speaking of filthiest requests, the Swag and Yeet will return in the next episode of Tipad Modsy or whatever we're calling it, because we've got too many titles for the show.
Yeah, the illogical, preposterous, pointless, absurd, and depressing misadventures of Detective Swag and Dr. Yeatley will be hitting you in the face very soon.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
2 episodes, or is it 3 episodes? 2 episodes or 3 episodes left before the end of the season.
Yeah, 3 episodes. I haven't decided yet. But I'm in the progress. I'm in the process of writing both the next 2 episodes. And
there will be a procession of progressional process.
Yes, we will be doing most of the voices because we don't have a budget for a cast, and I will be editing it because we don't have a budget for a sound mixer
yet. That's one thing we'd like to work on by the end of the year. If we get an editor, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. I would love to actually have money to be able to hire an editor.
Me too.
But we'll see. Yeah. I got to quit my job first and then find something that I can actually do. Yeah. Right now, it's a struggle. But we hope you guys had a fantastic month, and we can't wait to hear back from you guys for the next month. There's going to be a lot of good films coming up pretty soon.
February is going to be February because there are so much coming up. Because
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
Oscar
movies.
And
I'm sure there is a woman out there that will love that too. Yes, Oscar movies, some fantastic streaming options, more to come. Disney is really just hitting their stride with their Marvel TV shows that are coming out.
And also, on that note, there is a possibility that all the Marvel movies we will be getting soon on Disney Plus because it looks like we will be watching Black Widow at home. And that's the way it's looking.
Which sucks, because I want to watch it in the cinemas.
And the martial arts one as well.
Legend of the Nine Rings?
Yeah, Legend of 9 Rings.
Yeah.
Whatever the name
9 Rings or 5 Rings? I can't remember.
9 Rings. I just can't remember the name of the character.
Yeah. I feel really shitty for not knowing that. But I don't know when that's coming out. I don't think it's next month. I think it's a couple of months from now.
But still, that's stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, and we want to talk about it with all of you. This has been the Film Roast Podcast. I'm Scotty.
And I'm Jorgs. See you guys next month.
Bye-bye. Please don't send me hate pics.
It's time for